On today's show, episode number 17 of the Real Recovery podcast, we are thrilled to welcome back Mike Hovey, a key figure associated with Fora Health. You might remember him as Mentor Mike from episode 10, GTD Go the Distance, where we first introduced him to our listeners. Mike has been a guiding light in the recovery community, offering invaluable mentorship and support. Today, we'll dive deeper into his story, impactful work, and gain more insights from his extensive experience. Get ready for an engaging and informative conversation.
Hello, and welcome to the Real Recovery podcast. I'm Julie, your co-host. On this journey of healing and transformation, together with my co-host Peter, we dive into the heart of recovery, sharing stories that resonate with courage and inspiration.
That's right, Julie. Each episode is a new chapter in this vast narrative of recovery, and we're honored to bring them to you. But keep in mind the perspectives you'll hear are for informational purposes only and may not reflect the views of the podcast or our partners.
Indeed, while these conversations can be a powerful part of your recovery toolkit, they are not substitute for professional medical advice. We encourage you to seek guidance from your healthcare provider for any treatment-related decisions.
And if you're facing an immediate crisis, or if you just need to talk to someone who understands, don't hesitate to call the Recovery Crisis Line at 503-223-8569. That number is also on our website. Help is available 24/7.
Now let's begin our episode
of recovery, real recovery. Just talk right like that. No, I'm just kidding. Talk just like this.
Okay.
No, that'll be good. And we're rolling.
Hey, this is Julie from the Real Recovery podcast.
And this is Peter. And we're joined today at the lovely Fora Health Center with Mike. And we're happy to have you on our show today. Welcome to the Real Recovery podcast.
I'm really grateful you took the time. This is an amazing place. You're an amazing person, and I can't wait to share your story.
Yeah, you might remember he is on the board of GTD. And so he was on a previous show. I think it was episode 10. You can check that out. And he talked a little bit about his involvement with GTD. But now we want to hear about your story and how you got to where you are today, and then a little bit about Fora and what Fora does. And
we want to get it out to the community.
Yeah. We're so excited to do this. We just visited True Colors, and we have some other centers. So beyond our stories that we've been putting out on our podcast, it's great to hear about the facilities and the meeting spaces too.
Thank you both. It's an honor to be here. Definitely. Yeah. It's been a journey. Crazy. Like, we're here. I'm here. I would have never believed it. But I know you guys are doing great things in our community and meeting with our community partners. And it's really, I truly feel it's a revolution. It's a recovery revolution out here right now. And we are all soldiers in this war. It's genuinely a war out here. People are dying every day.
Yeah.
It's an honor to be here. And I'm excited to let you know a little about me and a little about Fora and what we do here.
Yay.
So
I'm excited. Really am.
Yeah. I am obviously a man of recovery. I'm celebrating 9 years.
Woohoo.
Coming up soon in
Wow.
July. My recovery date is 7/5/15. Would have never believed I would be in recovery. My story starts super young, troubled youth, ward of the court. Grew up in California, low income, poverty, stepdad, tough love. Not like an abnormal childhood. Just, I think it was a different time. Get backhanded at the table, you get backhanded at the table. You're gonna sit there till all that food's done, and you're not gonna back talk. And that's just the way it was.
My dad used to touch his belt. That's all he had to do, because we knew if the belt came off, we were really in trouble.
Yeah.
And that was those days. That's how it
we
was.
definitely have this snap point. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell are you doing? But yeah, I started young. I felt like just a normal kid up until puberty. Puberty hit me, and then something happened. I went totally opposite way and started drinking 12, 13, smoking weed, running away. By 15, I was a felon. Methamphetamine was a huge part of my story. I was exposed to that super young. From 15 to 22, I was more incarcerated than on the streets. I was incarcerated my 16th, 17th, 18th, and 20th birthdays.
I was incarcerated at good old Justice Center for 4 of my birthdays.
Yeah. These are like definitely influential times too, because it's like when I tell my story, I explain that some people, they have this track and they go to college and they're earning their degrees. Some people might go to the military and they're earning their ranks. I went to California penal system. I was earning my stripes. And I also adopted a belief system that kept me trapped for so long. Like you couldn't tell me shit. I've been to prison. I know how this world is. And this is really like street commandments. You know, I mean, this is just the code. This is how we live. And I was trapped in that belief system. I was trapped in ignorance for so long, like all the way into my mid-30s when I actually started to like recovery presented itself to me. So by 22, I was an intravenous drug user. I was a felon. I was a meth cook from back in the day. I was a father, and I was just a lost soul. And I had an opportunity to get away. I really had an ultimatum. So I had my son's mother, choose your friends or choose your family. We had one friend in Portland. She was coming up here. And I had a choice, and I ultimately chose my family. I still kept coming back to California. There was a transition time, and I honestly didn't really change my life, but the intensity, like I was definitely a master of chaos. I've had a few eras of masters of chaos, but at that point I did come up to Oregon and tried to live that family life, and still was an addict, was working and trying to do that. It's still a lost soul. And about 30, when I was 30, so it still took a long time to get to my rock bottom. But at 30, she was fed up. I was still having the same behaviors, old patterns. I was in love, but I definitely was. I was a terrible partner. And my desires were out of balance. I was so egotistic. I definitely was selfish and the classic addict. You know what I mean? It's all their fault, and I'm doing what I'm doing. And I'm still thinking my kids love me. And I feel, I was a good dad, but I was a dad that was maybe there a lot, but not really present. I'm still trying to, just so much going on in my world, trying to juggle so much. At 30, I had a divorce was happening. I really hit my rock bottom. I was at this time still doing meth and heroin. I was doing what we call goofballs. I was still intravenous drug user. Everything, my world was crumbling. I decided to try to go back to California and be this guy that I once was. It didn't work out for me. I had some trauma that really happened down there that all I was trying to do was get back to Portland and have my freedom and have my kids. And ever since that point, the intensity of that struggle in that moment, I have not touched meth or heroin since then.
Amen.
But that was at 30. So I still have a harm reduction model in my story though, because at 30, I wasn't doing meth or heroin, but everything under the sun was okay because it wasn't that evil. So from 30 to 35, or when I really got into recovery, everything else was okay. And my life actually did get a lot better. My story always consisted, I've always had the ability to hustle. I was always a drug dealer. I was always supplying my own addiction. I've always been, even in this realm today, a center of energy. You know what I mean? I have a lot of transferable skills from my old days that I utilize today. And that is interacting with so many different people. I am always trying to connect people with what they need. You know, and I'm that guy that I've had this talent to procure. I've had a talent to just bring some energy into a room. And I'm always trying to uplift people. Even in the days when I was thinking I was creating smiles, I was still poisoning people, but I was still trying to brighten their day. Right. You know, so I still try to brighten people's day, try to get them connected to the resources that they need, but do it in a positive, healthy way today. And still interact with so many people. So
I love that. I agree with you about transferable skills. Going from madam to prison, like I was a good businesswoman, and now running a division of a company, I transferred it and I was a good leader. It just, if you do it for the right reasons, you can just reap the rewards. And I think you also can understand it from both sides, which the average business person cannot.
Yeah.
And you can get the most out of people in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely been a journey to get to this point. Like in that realm, I had some peaks and some valleys, but I would have never guessed recovery would have been part of my story. I was truly blessed as I was continued down this path. I got chaotic, again, a master of chaos. I was moving fast. My story is a little bit different because my rock bottom was at 30, and that's where it was like total just shit and hopelessness and suicidal and just empty, a shallow of a man, definitely an internal death. at that time. And then from 30 to 35, like I said, I was doing this and everything came back. I had this clout. I had like my stature. I'm not the tallest guy, but I definitely had power in the streets just by who I was. And I definitely still upheld all those street codes and those commandments. And you don't fuck with me. It just came down to that, period. I'm a bandit. If I say it, I'm going to do it. And I've earned that respect. I earned my stripes. But again, ignorance. But at 35, like my world really, truly started crumbling. And I had money, I had cars, I had women, I had things that I wanted that I thought was success. Like the old me, what would you consider success? The old me, those are things, jewelry, clout, this is success. Totally distorted view of what I think success is today. But I was still unhappy, still angry all the time, I always felt unsafe, and not unsafe like I'm going to get beat up, unsafe for my freedom's going to be taken at any time. Anything's going to happen. It was just out here in the streets. I'm part of the dirty Southeast. I've been in the dirty Southeast since I've been up here, 162nd and just running amok.
130th in division. No, I understand.
But I was blessed to start to have the awareness, the self-awareness, to see my world crumbling around me. Like things just started going to total shit. At my apartments, my managers were some of my best friends, and they knew that I had hustling, like going out of the house. There was just a lot of traffic, but it wasn't like the meth and heroin traffic. It was still like a wide range of traffic. And again, I think my intentions were pure, and the universe supported me for a while for that. But then it started all crumbling. I had 3 different cars. One, the engine blew. Then I get one repoed, and then all this other stuff's happening, right? Just the ability to see my world crumbling. And I was able to turn away anytime historically in my life. If I'm ever going to detox or do any of this, it's incarceration. Anytime I'm ever stopping, it's either incarceration. Even when I chose to come up here, I was still using and abusing, and there was not really a stop. Jail has always been if I'm going to get clean and sober, and then I'll have periods of sobriety. And not full sobriety, because I always thought I'd at least smoke weed, for the rest of my life.
That's how I got off meth. I'm just saying, yeah. And I was an IV drug user too.
Yeah. So the ability to see my world crumbling, and this is going to be the weird part. And this is where, like, when I start mentioning it to the people that I see around here, I either get some that are intrigued and curious, or I see people shut down. But the one thing, and I would have never believed that I would be advocating that, the one thing that truly was the catalyst that changed my life in this whole game of life, meditation. Meditation came into my world. And the only thing I knew about meditation is premeditation. I didn't want a premeditated case. You know what I mean? I knew that you're going to get a chunkier case. You're going to get a lot more months on a premeditated case. But meditation presented itself into my world. And when it did, I was still doing my dabs. I was in a concentrates. I didn't quit everything at once. I still had the harm reduction, like the hard shit. I wasn't doing coke and the Molly and all this other crap. Then I'm just smoking weed and drinking occasionally. And then it's okay, I had to stop my weed, but I was still using that. I wouldn't say this to if somebody that I'm working like with that I'd rather the world smoke weed than drink, but I wouldn't tell people like, oh, smoke weed. It was really training wheels for my meditation. Like I was going up to the mountains and I'm meditating and I'm doing this and I'm doing it with my dad. What the hell's going on? I was part of it was a twilight zone. I didn't know what the hell was going on with me. I knew something was calling me, something was drawing me to do different. And then through the meditation I had to take this power away because when I didn't have my weed, it caused this. I was pissed. You know what I mean? How do I take the power away from that? Oh, I have to quit that. And then so I quit that. Then I'm drinking just occasionally. And I was drinking only wine because Jesus drank wine. And I was like,
that's the way to rationalize it. No, I got you.
It was like, okay, all right. And then if you heard my date, 7/5/15, after 4th of July, I had a terrible 4th of July. And that was the deciding factor with the drinking part. And now I'm in recovery. And I didn't even, recovery it wasn't like intentional. It was this meditation started revealing things to me. I started this path. I started making different decisions. I turned away from a lifestyle. In summary, I really turned away from a lifestyle. That's all that I knew. I was so ignorant. I didn't know anything better. This is just normal. Doesn't everybody do this? Doesn't everybody go to work, come home and drink a tall can? A malt liquor gets you up quicker. Yeah, as a malt liquor guy, it's just normal. You know what I mean? What? The twilight zone part of it is this change. And I had to detach from everything. And I was blessed with my daughter's mom. So when I say my story, I have 4 felonies, 3 kids, 2 baby mamas, and 1 soul that is determined to change this world. You know what I mean? So my daughter's mom, she allowed weed off and on throughout my recovery. When I was still using it, I was honest with her with like other women and stuff. It was still terrible. I was a terrible partner to her. Once I got in recovery, totally different. I was actually able to be like the man that not only she deserved, but just more integrity. I was integrity in the streets, but integrity with women and with my desires was just terrible. So got back with her and I was able to really detach and focus on myself. So it was like a safe place. That relationship was still tense because I didn't have the money coming in like I once did. I'm more of a, and I was just making these changes. Like she didn't understand. Nobody in my world understood anything that was going on with me. Everybody thought I fell off. What happened to him? He fell off. I'm just truly focused on me. Sobriety, meditation, like service work. Our paths led to volunteering at transition projects and doing all these things for the homeless. It's still during these decisions, it led to homelessness with her and my daughter, which was the best thing that could happen because it got us into these programs that ultimately led to more opportunities. It's always hindsight why things happen.
Yeah.
And nothing happens by accident.
Yeah.
I think that the thing with the meditation piece that really not only did it lift this veil from my eyes to see with some clarity and help me to cultivate integrity and discipline, restraint, self-love, self-forgiveness, like all these qualities that can help sustain somebody in this life, this new life of recovery. It also helped me cultivate this like sixth sense, this internal guidance. Mm-hmm. I have my intuition that I would say I have the ability to listen to my heart today. And my heart has led me in the direction where it has made 0 sense to make this decision. But I've only listened to my heart from this point for years now. And it's led me to where not only DePaul and Fora, and now I'm in this manager role and I've excelled in as fast as I've had all of this. And it's the only reason is because I've listened to my heart.
Yes.
And I know it sounds crazy, but it's the meditation piece helped me cultivate this ability to make decisions that aren't, because our decisions aren't always black and white.
Right.
You know, some are easy and some are just murky. And okay, you have 2 decisions that are both like seem wonderful. And now I have the ability to do that. So cultivating that sixth sense has been a godsend for me. It's like, I truly feel I have this cheat code. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I still have challenges and obstacles every day. That's part of the human walk.
We all do.
But I feel it's a skill I have. It's this tool that I've cultivated to help me navigate this world, this society, even my own. Like I'm still battling. It's a battle itself, right? To conquer others is strong. To conquer ourselves is mighty. And I'm still on that battle. And I know the only obstacle or challenge or thing that I have, competition in this world I have, is that man that I look at in the mirror. And I know this sounds all cliche shit, but this is
no,
I've lived
it
by
actually
this.
Doesn't.
I love what you've said so far. The meditation resonates with me tremendously because that's how I've been able to come through my struggles and get to where I am, is through using that meditation. And then for me, it's connecting with nature, and that combination is, anytime I feel disturbed and anxious inside, to put those into my world and to focus on those areas gets me past it and helps me through whatever I'm struggling with. And you're right, the person in the mirror, I am my own worst enemy. My mind will tell me I'm going to fail. I'm going to be caught by fear, anything that's going on. And it's like, why is my brain doing this to me? None of this is happening. And everything ends up being okay in the end, but I have to go through this horrible
Crazy
anxiety.
brain.
And it's, I don't get it. And I keep telling myself, don't do it. But then my mind goes. And so that meditation and that connection, that has been very powerful. And so I can totally resonate with you using that in your.
And I commend you for finding a purpose sooner from the money, the cars. For me, it wasn't necessarily the cars, but it took until 24 years sober and working 65 hours a week, have the bougie title, and running my division after climbing the corporate ladder at Sprint. And I think I just wanted my look good to be good for my daughter, who grew up in AA. I already had the sobriety, wasn't worried about that. But at 24 years, it changed. I didn't care about the bougie title. I really, as long as my car gets me where I need to go, okay. And really, I always felt a value because I always did a lot of service work. But I told you the Fora Treatment Awards changed my life. It was one of my happiest days. And GTD is freaking flawless. But I saw Izzy do it when there was one person that he wanted to take running. When I bought him his very first shirt and he didn't have a logo in a freaking crew. And that's why it meant so much to me. And I just knew at that time that running a company or a division of a company, probably not for me anymore. Mm-hmm. That I had a different purpose. And I hope this is it. And some other stuff, I hope I can merge the two. But I love how you've done it. And I have that street smarts too. Trust me, you don't get arrested with $250,000 without getting it. So yeah.
I've heard multiple people refer to you as Mentor Mike. See why? Because what you've done and that path that you've taken, it's an inspiration. And I learned too that I was in Chicago. I was like the Jefferson's 24th story condo downtown, balcony view, everything. But I still thought I needed more. And then I crashed. And now I have a little house and maybe I can barely go paycheck to paycheck, but I'm happy. I've realized I didn't need all that to make me the man that I thought I needed to be.
My dog.
Path is definitely a walk of humility for sure. When it comes to the Mentor Mike thing, like it's been a blessing that's stuck.
It's actually really stuck.
It's definitely, and it's not that I'm not with everybody. It gets later on to really get in depth with my story, but I think it's truly, if you talk to me, I've walked through hell. And I've come out on the other side and I have this baseline of positivity and people really resonate with that. But it's also, I think I've cultivated the ability, the non-judgment piece. This is our people. I feel I'm the voice of our people. So I'm in these halls. I emulate what recovery, like I'm just this cheerleader. I'm trying to always really, and today I just want to spread love. You know, I'm this guy that had to be this hard ass out here, like a chip on my shoulder because I'm this shorter guy. You know what I mean? And I will take off first. I will hit you first. You know what I mean? to this guy now, I can stand in a room full of men and say, I just want to love. I just want to love. And I just want to spread love and hope. But that's what I think people really resonate with is they see authentic positivity that every day I have to choose. I still have internal warfare going on. It's nothing like my internal critic is a lot healthier than it's ever been. And I think that's a measurement of how far I've come in my recovery is that inner voice. And it's still not anywhere near perfect. And I have to battle and I have to choose. It's a choice.
I don't think we ever get perfect. I think we evolve. I think for me, there was times of sobriety, right? And then there's solid recovery. And I think when you're in solid recovery, you just grow. You continue to grow. You don't make the same mistakes you made before. Because I have a little ghetto girl in me too that will kill you. Peter knows. My sponsor says you're not allowed to carry a gun. But, so I get it. But it's truly doing the right thing. And it's not easy always to do the right thing. Sometimes it's harder and sometimes it's scary.
Yeah.
It can be really scary.
Yeah. I guess I'm so blessed too, as we continue to evolve, like I evolve and just note, I think that meditation piece too, I will always advocate that, but it's such a healing component to all this. It is truly a catalyst for evolution as you continue to ascend like these frequencies of consciousness, as you just grow and we're not just stagnant. I mean, to just quit drinking and drugging isn't enough. It's like what you do after that. How are you healing yourself? You can still have 5-6 years and be miserable and hate life. And what is that about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I really, truly, there has to be some introspection. There has to be some kind of, it's internal, not external.
I think you have to give it away to
got to give it away.
Receive it more and to grow more. I think otherwise you will be more self-centered and egotistical and whatnot. But giving it away, I think, is the key to growth. Helping one other person. Maybe it's just that. Sometimes it's just showing up and helping.
And having that non-judgment. That's that piece I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. So I'm blessed. I'm blessed to get to witness the miracles of recovery every day. You know what I mean? And as I knew I was coming to do this today, right? I have some anxiety and, oh shit, there's a podcast. Yeah, I don't do this very often. It's not the first like media or anything but it's still, I don't do this often. So I'm thinking, I really want to, I am so blessed that I have this niche, like treatment. Now, like you've been to True Colors and we have all our community partners, but this moment for people, this 60 to 90 days for people is magical that I get to witness people coming in here truly lights off, like not here, defeated.
I've seen it in the
and
runs.
the transformation in 60 to 90 days where there's hope again, lights are back on, vibrant.
Yeah.
I see these pathways of opportunities presenting themselves for a lot. There's still people that are still have to go do more research. And I still feel we're always planting seeds for the people that aren't ready in this moment. But not everybody gets to witness this moment in recovery. It's early recovery. It's people are still very vulnerable. And this is where I get protective of our people too. I don't want people exploiting our people and taking. So there's a lot of like after treatment with housing and stuff that I really want to round up our community and get some better opportunities for our people. We need more housing, but that's a whole nother podcast. But I'm blessed. I get to see these miracles of recovery, and that being part of people's journey, I would have never believed or understood how that feels. Like it takes the experiential piece of having somebody say, thank you, your energy or what you said in this meeting or blah, blah, blah is just, that's addicting. That's what these are my rewards. You know what I mean? Is getting to be part of people's story and just being that light, that hope. I'm here to enrich this experience for people. I'm here to cushion this walk a little bit because it takes courage to come in these doors. Somebody said before, those doors feel like 500 pounds push, trying to get, and plus it's like Fort Knox to get in here. You know what I mean? I tell people all the time, we have our everybody in one room is don't forget, you are chosen to be here. Embrace this time. You know what I mean? This is a moment for you to really not clear all the wreckage of your past, but truly start walking a different path. Yeah. Start walking a different route and having hope and resources and community. We need like-minded individuals around us. You know what I mean? Nothing against normies. I love normies. But if you're trying to integrate back into a community that there's nobody else like-minded or aligned to your values, it's not that you can't make it, but it is so hard. So hard.
We interviewed Chris G from True Colors, and he gave Fora all the credit and his foundation to get there. Just so you know, he was like, it wasn't until I went to Fora until it all clicked. And I was like, yay. Yeah.
I'm biased. I love what we do here. I've been here long enough that we were formerly DePaul Treatment Centers, and still this year is our 50th year. So we've been in the community a long time. I've been able to witness our change, internal, our cultural change. Not only we've changed our name, obviously we've rebranded and got this beautiful new building. But you can have a fancy new building, but if you don't have the right systems and the energy in the building, it don't mean shit. But
it is a better building though.
It's a better building. And when people walk in those doors, you have a sense of dignity. Oh, this is low income. This is nonprofit. This is treatment. What? And versus like downtown, when we had a little piece of grass, like a little triangle of grass, when you brought across from a bar downtown. Yeah. You know, it was definitely.
So where you were located downtown, there was that mom and pop like store on the corner.
Literally mom and pops. Yeah. Mom and pops.
Literally when there was phone booths, I was staying in the Kent Hotel, 3 blocks from there. And one of our customers called and said, the police are on the way in. And literally they were at my door like 3 minutes, and they called from a payphone. Yeah. And I told you my daughter's father went to DePaul. He stayed clean from 3 to 7, 3 to 10. And he passed away from an overdose. Who makes it and who doesn't? I'm blessed like you. Yeah. She needed a parent. Yeah. Yeah.
Having a nicer plate, you talk about the differences between DePaul and here. And again, I think it reflects on the stigma that's out there with addiction. You talk about normies, and I also, that's something I have to work on. Being brought up, I have this judgment of others. Somehow it got into me. That was how I was brought up. Mm-hmm. And so I work on that a lot, but I could see how people will look at people on the streets and be, oh, they need to be moved somewhere, or
put them on an island.
Yeah. Or box them up whatever it is. And again, with the treatment, all these dilapidated houses and buildings and things. And so it adds to that stigma. And so to change that, it has to be all encompassing. It has to be the view of the people, the treatment that centers. I think it all helps reverse that stigma that people tend to have towards addiction. And also, I think by sharing people like you and me and the others that we've interviewed. And there's millions out there that have had struggles or know people who've had struggles. And it's to show that they're just people and they're good people and they can amount to great things just like anybody.
Yes.
There's hope.
Why would you put the hand up and stop them? It's embrace them instead. Put the arms out, bring them in.
Yeah.
That's one thing I love. I talk about Izzy a lot, but I really see how GTD, he's brought all of these people to work with him from addiction that they have graduated, if you will, from the treatment centers. And he takes chances on them and brings them into his organization as opposed to maybe the advice of some others. Oh, you should hire this person. They have a degree and whatever. No, I'm going to take a chance on this person because I believe.
Yeah, I love Izzy. I've had the pleasure to watch Izzy's growth. Not quite like you, Julie.
No, but still, no, I agree with you.
Like the man that he's turned into professionally, he truly is just an angel on this earth. Like the universe channels through him. He touches so many hearts. And I think him and I are aligned. Like he's one of my closest
He
friends.
actually thinks you are. I get on his butt sometimes. I think I'm the only one that can be like, listen, he gives a lot to you, like beyond for getting him on this journey. And this is his journey. This is such his journey. And I so appreciate you getting there. I just got him through the steps. Okay. And I had to take him to a place, but it was give him pizza, but it is, and it makes me very happy. It fills my soul to see the TJs, the Connors and the Gregs.
Yeah.
Like these are good guys and they just needed a chance to belong and somebody to show them something different. And it gives Daniel Torres's life a purpose. Yes, it does. I think that what happened inspired and has been there. And then Gloria gives her some respect about her son. I have some questions about Fora. Okay. We just want to put this out to the community. Your story's got me. I cry all the fucking time. I'm just saying. And you understand why I don't want to run a company. Okay. I think I'd like to know what are some of the challenges you face providing addiction and recovery services here. I know there's a lot. We mentioned housing.
I think it's access, right? We have wait lists. We definitely have pathways. So those that don't know, we are the full continuum of care here. What that means is we have our withdrawal management, which is our detox. We have residential, we have outpatient, we have family therapy, we have mental health, we have a peer team, so peer services. We have so many other amenities that come in here, like chiropractor comes in here, acupuncture comes in here, qigong comes in here. We do have a counselor that does yoga, but just quicker access. And it's on both ends, right? It's access in, but now we have bottlenecks and when they're leaving, it's that housing. So we do pride ourselves on nobody graduates this program into homelessness and
100% housing. Yep.
And that it's a heavy ask. And I oversee the team we make sure that we do that. And it's not easy. So we're a 70-bed facility, 70-bed residential, 24 in our withdrawal management. And we haven't been full census in our res program due to staffing. So some of the hardships are staffing, being fully staffed where we can actually run at optimal 70 beds filled. So if we're at 51, 52 right now, that's still 19 souls that we're not serving due to staffing. That's 19 people out there that could be in here. So some of the challenges that we are dealing with currently at Fora are access to services, staffing issues that don't allow us to run at optimal
occupancy.
Yes. We have the 19 souls or so that we can't serve right now due to staffing. And then on the tail end of it, it is getting people to where they need to go, their next level of care, whether it's sober living or whether it's Central City, it's transitional housing, subsidized housing. It's just getting them out to make room for the beds that we do have. So we have people here that have been here over 100 days. One that's pushing 120 days. That if we're at a 90-day program, they've already graduated or right there-ish. That's 20 days extra added on to, that's 20 days. That's somebody else that could have been here already 20 days and already had a transformation. You know what I mean? So
they're here because there's no other place to go. There's no housing.
Waiting. Yes. Okay. We're waiting on things. We're trying to unfold. The peer team's working with them with whatever barriers they might have. Everybody's individualized. We definitely have our go-tos And that's where,
Not everybody's ready to go out on their own. Sometimes there needs to be a middleman. No, I understand. I think being on parole, having a pee in a cup was a good thing for me.
Yeah.
It brought accountability that I needed. I don't know. I can't say where I would have been without that accountability.
Some of us do need that.
I did.
Yeah.
100%. I went to AA just to get off parole.
Yeah.
And at the 6th month when I got off parole, I made the decision to stay. I was scared. I didn't want to fuck up.
Yeah.
So,
You had talked about the culture, and you're a graduate of DePaul. When it was DePaul,
No, I'm not a graduate. When I was exposed to treatment, which I was not ready for treatment, Salvation Army in Sacramento, California. And it was not pleasant. It was nowhere near any of this.
Okay.
Yeah.
you just went to work at DePaul.
I went to work at DePaul. I was part of Central City. I was part of the ERP, or not ERP, but I had employment specialists, EAC, the Access Center. I went to a job fair. I was trying to get honestly, it's crazy when I think about it, but I was really trying to get on with Central City. That's all I knew. I want to work nonprofit. I wanted to work in recovery. This is after I transitioned out of my father's house, which is a homeless shelter for families. I was on this way. That's where I was exposed to peer mentor. Like, what? I can have felonies and I get to help people. And the meditation piece, all I knew, I started unlocking these hidden chambers in my heart. And all I knew was I wanted to help. I wanted to serve. I wanted to work nonprofit. And I stuck to my guns because historically I've always done construction, and I could go back to construction, but didn't want to. But through Central City, I went to the job fair. I was trying to just pushing those damn trash cans, right? Like I just wanted to get my foot in the door, but I also signed some for DePaul. And then I got a call, and it was DePaul. And I remember I was genuinely upset that DePaul called me first. But then I went to the interview, and it turned out to be the best thing, so aligned to everything in my world. But just looking back, like, what? And everything was not like I expected it to be, of course. But going from DePaul at that time, like working at DePaul, to where we are now, when I say culture, there's been a culture shift. There's truly,
I can see it.
It's when we say trauma informed, we truly walk trauma informed. Like in the old days, you could get kicked out of treatment for just like anything. And it could be one person saying, you're out of here. Like today, we always have care teams. There's not one person that's deciding somebody's fate, somebody's life. We definitely give room. I always give Dalton credit for this because I took it from him, but I love saying it. This is the best place to have a bad day. This is the best place to have a bad day. And we give people room to have bad. And we still have some non-negotiables though. We're not without boundaries, but we're not the old DePaul where it's like, get them out of here and get the next one in. And it's just
I used to take a meeting there, believe it or not, with 2 other ladies from Beaverton. We'd take it into the women's meeting, and it was not like it is now. And this was, 20 years ago. It was a long time ago. So yeah. And I didn't know where we were going. They're like, come on, Julie, you're going to tell your story. And we went there, and I was like, oh, yeah. And I kept going back for a while.
And I think I think here we're evolving, like recovery's evolved. The fentanyl and there's so much, like things change. If we stuck in the same ways and the same concepts from the 90s and the 80s, and I feel we're cutting edge over here. We do new things. Our CCO, Narisa, always says we're big enough to be financially sound, but we're small enough that we can still make changes. We can still do things different if it's plausible, if it makes
your
sense.
Success rate is better than most, I think, because you do encompass all of it. And some places is just addiction. They don't deal with the trauma and the mental health as well.
Oh, yeah.
And really
They go hand in hand.
Yeah, they really do.
Agreed. 100%. 100%. So what advice and resources would you give to families or individuals struggling with addiction? That's a hard one, I know.
Families, this is where it would be wonderful. And the family therapist that we have here is awesome too. So I'd love that we have this holistic, we're trying to address all these systems, the family systems. I would obviously like Al-Anon for family stuff, but I would definitely, there's such a fine line to being supportive and being an enabler too. So it's really identifying where we're at, what's going on with the family, the non-judgment piece, it's really hard when it's your loved, like truly loved ones. And you just see, especially if you have your own lived experience and you know exactly what's going on in their world and they're thinking, you just don't know shit, dad. You know what I mean? You don't know what's going on with me. But I think it is truly seeking resources. It's the action behind the support of love. And sometimes that hard love is the best support. And sometimes you just have to let people, we all have our own. If there's 7 billion people on this earth, there's 7 billion different escape routes. You know what I mean? And we can be supportive. We can try to mold and shape and help present a menu of options of what's out here and awareness of what's going on. But ultimately, it's that individual that needs to make that choice. But it's helping them to have the ability to see their choices. And then if they have to have turbulence in their world and they're still going down that path, then it's super challenging as somebody that loves, but sometimes they have to do their own thing. But it's getting people connected if they're still children to like the family, the Morrison and whatever, finding people, that's their wheelhouse. It's finding the right people that have those resources. I don't have just a list of resources for you for the families besides
we're good.
Al-Anon and all that, but that's such a broad, it's so hard. Every family's dynamic's a little bit different. And
well, is it hereditary? Is it the cycle or whatnot? I agree with you. My mom, talk about tough love. My mom said, you got yourself into this mess. You can get yourself out. And I'm glad she didn't enable me. And she, though the addiction was hereditary, she did a better job than most with it and the alcoholism that I'm sure she got from my grandfather. But when I got into trouble, she was like, yeah. And it was good. She didn't do that. And then when I said I was going to AA, the one good thing, she would be like, are you going to your meeting? Are you going to your meeting? And I was like, yep, so.
I think for family, if there's family listening and you have a loved one that is in addiction, know that they have to make, you can't make them change. They have to come upon it on their own. They have to want it. And that's why, unfortunately, we have people who pass away from addiction. And someone who's in addiction, speaking from my own personal experience, I felt like I'm drinking the alcohol. I am not affecting you. You feel like you're not affecting anyone. Yeah. And you are affecting everyone around you.
People, yes.
As much as you think you do the hair and you're dressed up nice and you got the mouthwash and you're showing up to work and you think that nobody's going to know and I'm not hurting anyone. No, you are. And I know that's something that you have to come to learn yourself, because I didn't. I didn't know what I was doing to my family and to my husband and my work and everything else.
Same with me. We get that like selfishness too.
It's that self-centered and the ego and the arrogance. Yeah, no.
And that's how I would say I've always impacted people. Today I impact people I hope that I leave people a little bit better. And again, not perfect, but my intent is to,
I don't know anyone who is.
To really enrich this experience though, you know what I mean? And do it in an authentic, genuine, like this is real shit, while also help bring awareness of, look at all the good shit that's going on. We get focused on the negative and what's going wrong, and it does take effort. It is a choice to try to find, oh wait, like all this shit happened today, but this did happen also today. Right. You know what I mean? And start to build a little bit of momentum. We're building momentum one way or the other, whether you're getting out of that room, getting suited and booted, coming down, getting to group, engaged in treatment. If you're going to be here, embrace it. Don't just waste this time.
Agreed.
Because there's people that are literally dying to get in here. So that's what I try to instill that. But also, hey, just bring a little joy, a little fun. This doesn't have to be miserable. I do tell people. It can
actually be some of the best time of your life and lay the foundation. Yeah. And just think, like, you've impacted Izzy, right? Izzy's impacted others. The motion just started. And
it's like that pay it forward.
It is. And truly helping him has helped me more than I could ever say. Just watching him grow has given me a different direction. So it's amazing.
I think him and I together,
are a force.
And it's that, but we just both lead with love. Like truly just lead with love on some humanity shit. And that's been evolution. That's been growth on both of our parts. But we just love people and we love, and we have unlocked purpose. And I would say that to anybody that's listening for If you're battling addiction, the whole thing, like I said, we all have our escape routes, but it's finding what's working. But it is unlocking that purpose. If you can find purpose in this world, you can sustain recovery and actually live a life worth living. There's so much more beauty and magic out here. I'm going to go down this rabbit hole, but there's so much more going on out here. And I try to tell people, because I remember back in it's like recovery. Okay, my life's over. I'm going to be bored the rest of my life. This is it. Yeah. You know what I mean? No more fun.
Oh, yeah.
But it's truly, once you make that decision and embrace that decision, it's now you can start to live. Like now you can remember everything that you're doing, but it also these opportunities to experience this world a little bit more. And I lived in such a small little box for so long. Like I'm a baby boy in this world right now. I definitely see it different. And so I think these are two ways I measure how far I've come, is that inner critic on how I treat myself, a lot healthier, and my perception. The only thing that changes me from anybody that's walking in these doors is just the way I see the world. The way I see the world today is I do see and it's chaotic, right? I might watch the news for the weather, but I'm not watching, especially Southeast. There's so many shootings. There's so much shit going on right now. It's chaos, but I see the love. I see the hope. I see the transformation the world has happened. I see this revolution that we're in, even if people don't see it. And I see the generals out here, and I see the ones that are truly working and leading the people. And I truly know that I'm a voice for the people. Izzy's a voice for the people. And we're here just to bring hope and love and unity to our community. And there's some heavy hitters out here, and there's people that have been lost, defeated, that have came out, had recovery, and have created wonderful things in this world. And I honestly feel all of us have something to give, right?
Yes.
Everybody has something to get. And if you can unlock that within yourself and truly just let it out, express it, and that's where the purpose piece will present itself. And that's where now we're sustaining, now we're living. And
that's the whole purpose of our podcast. Like we were literally at Peter's house for Father's Day, talking about what we wanted to do that we hadn't done. And Peter said a podcast. And I said, oh my God, yes, let's do that together. And then Peter started, and we were like, yes, which is.
It's that soul searching that I hear you from your story experience too, that soul searching of looking internally. And I was at that point, what's my second act? And I've been involved in a lot of corporate stuff, and most of those companies have gone bankrupt or gone or whatever. And what was the meaning of it anyway? I want to leave something behind. I want to have an impact of some sort. And I was like, what are my technical skills? And I can do this. And what is it near to my heart? My sobriety and what I see going on out there. And Portland, like you have mentioned times before, number one in addiction, 50th in treatment.
Yeah, Mike Marshall's good without those numbers. Yeah.
So could I do something? And so that's how and then meeting Julie, I'm not as dynamic or have those skills. So I needed someone, and she came into my life. And it's again, what you were talking about with the meditation. I was like, okay, let's meditate on this, see, and things start to come in. When you get your mind right and your body, and you start putting it out there in the universe, and sometimes you're like, oh, that's not like you going for, I'm not going to interview for DePaul or whatever. And yet that was the best decision that you made to go through with that. And that's what I found as well. So here we are today. And every time we meet with someone, and then weeks later, when I'm editing shows, that I'm putting, and I'm hearing it again, and I'm like, wow, I'm almost overwhelmed about how right it feels.
We have a story coming up from a guy who just got 11 months. And it made me more humble in a way I never even thought possible. We got in the car when we left there, and I was like, I am grateful for my fucking shoelaces. Yeah. And it just changed so many things. Matter of fact, I'm going to take the recovery mentor class.
Good.
Yeah, I'm taking it in 2 weeks.
Good for you.
You got to start somewhere.
And that just opens doors, and gives you some other skills.
And my resume is flawless. I just need to add some other stuff for it. It's pretty bougie. But yeah.
You two together, though, I love hearing that, though, Peter, because that's passion. And that's co-signed by the universe. This is how, and you're doing, this is all what I just love being part of the healing of the world. I wasn't always part of the healing of the world. I used to light fires in hell, period. and this is what you guys are doing too, and helping bring awareness and helping get people stories out there, and just.
Well, and giving them places to go. If you're on the waiting list for here, go to True Colors and get a mentor until you can get in. Go to a meeting if you can't. Meetings are free. Just show the fuck up. Okay. We're just trying to give you a bunch. And 12-step might not be for everybody. Okay, then do this. We're just trying to give you a million options so that you're in that car and you're at the crossroads. Hopefully you'll know from your experience, my experience.
I hope people feel this passion that we feel when we're talking with people and feel the hope that we feel.
Yeah.
I hope that comes through.
I have so much hope through the podcast because we've heard so many. And we've probably done 20 episodes now that we have. And each one changes my life just a little bit more. And for somebody who has so much recovery, right? You wouldn't think, I don't know it all. I'm not even close. I'm just starting. And
isn't it crazy? Like those of us in recovery, we are the most resilient people on this planet. What do we do to ourselves? But to have that contrast, to have that darkness and to come out of it, to have that where you truly value this world and life and the little things, and like some of those things that we think are success aren't that anymore, and just how, it's just evolution. But I think it's really what life is. I feel if we were to end today, would you be proud of your life?
That's what I say. I am so proud of being a sponsor or the podcast and the recovery, where my job, very proud of the way I treat my employees and stuff like that. But the job itself, I don't think it makes a difference in the world.
You read the news, you see the things that people care about, my fashion, or I have 2 cars and I need another one, or all this stuff that I'm just like, whoa, put it in perspective. I went, when I was working at Providence, we had a program where we went to like Doctors Without Borders, and we went to the Dominican.
Wow.
Go to a country like that and then come back to the States and feel really like you're like a millionaire, and you may just have apartment and no car and you're still like a millionaire compared to people in those.
Well, I think in our society, people don't understand real gratitude. And real gratitude is when you have enough.
And going to Another Chance, when we went to that new Beginners Are Winners. We went to that meeting, Beginners Are Winners, and the people in that group, and they were like, I'm so excited because I get to do laundry because I have 2 pairs of pants and I get to wash one other pair. Oh my gosh. Talk about, like you say, being happy for your shoelaces, grateful for your shoelaces.
They're happy to make food because they have a meal. I always have food. You know what I'm saying? And I think there's things that some people take for granted, and you really need to be grateful for what you have. It's not what you necessarily want. It's what you need. And I don't think you see it. And I've gotten to a place, as long as I'm a clean freak, but as long as I have a clean place to lay my head, it could be this room and I'm happy. I know that the other stuff is not my purpose. And the career, it was good to get my daughter through college that I did as a single parent. And I'm really proud of that. And she was in a class yesterday. And first thing I told Peter today, she was in this class on relationships and all this stuff. And all these people were talking about how bad their childhood was. And she said, mine was freaking awesome. And I'm like, hell yeah. And that's only because I was in AA. And so AA raised me to be a great parent. And I didn't know that she thought it was that good until she said, yeah, Mom, let me tell you.
That has to feel so good.
It does. It really does. And I didn't climb the corporate ladder until she graduated from high school. I didn't move up. I went to every basketball game, every softball game, every water polo game, every Girl Scout. Like, she was a full-time job. So we're blessed. Like you said. Yeah.
We're blessed. We need that contrast to really understand. But I feel for our young ones that we've been able to really maybe change, like our world, there's systems in our world, another podcast, but conditioning, right? We're conditioned we have like open nerves. Everybody's so ready to just road rage on everything's so tense, but it's the systems in place. But our young ones, and when I say there's like a recovery revolution, that's also a spiritual revolution, but there's a building of the new world. And these are our young ones that have come up and just already have this ability to see through the facade. And
she's our number 1 fan, first person to like us, promotes the podcast. Like, it's crazy. I love it. And she didn't hear the whole story until the podcast. I never told her. She knew about the criminality, the drug use, but not the childhood stuff. I always kept it from her. It wasn't pretty to talk about,
Well, thank you so much for taking time to meet with us today. And I wish everyone listening could feel the passion in the room as you speak. It's quite palatable.
It's been such an honor. Thank you, Peter. Seriously, this is awesome.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time for us. I really appreciate it.
If someone listening wants to pursue their recovery here, how would they go about that?
So first things first, we do have a couple pathways. We have our withdrawal management, which is our detox. 6 days a week, we are admitting at the door. It's first come, first serve. You just show up. That's being at the door at 7:30. Saturdays, we only take organ health plan. We also, we usually have our insurance team during the week. So if you have any insurance difficulties or hardships or barriers, they can help you navigate through that. Saturday, they're not here. So that's why so that's one pathway to get into detox, at least, or withdrawal management. So, and that we do have a pathway from there to get in residential, but I would say for everybody else, we have on our website, Fora Health website, you go to the provider tab, we have a patient interest form. Fill out that patient interest form. And that is truly how you get on the wait list. And there's numbers and emails on there. I'm pretty sure the email, but at least a number. And that's where they'll contact you. And that starts the process. I would encourage anybody, if you are even a little ambivalent, if you have any desire in some days, because it's always that small window. That's where when access to treatment, we need more access to treatment is when that window presents itself, because life's going to come back at you and you have all these other excuses. Oh, I can't do it. I got to do this and I got to do that.
I met a lady here who, when I was here with Izzy, I come on Saturdays, and it took her 3 tries to get in.
Yeah.
And she got in, and I remember seeing her from when she first got in and when she's getting her shoes on her 12th run.
I'm telling you,
what a transformation.
And that's what I mean when I say that. There's so many of us in this recovery realm, and we're doing such good work, and there's so many different components, but this time of a person to be able to witness the transformation and the change in people, it's no other. Like, I'm a peer, and we have golden thread peer, like what our culture is, but I think the treatment peer is still different than your just run of the mill peer. Love peers. I'm all about peers. But I'm just so blessed. And I don't mean to be like, whoa, but I do, because I don't know, the universe loves me. And I really did hit the jackpot when I got here, and to see the transformation, and just to get to be part of these people's journeys, but watch the transformation, watch the lights come back on. That is like nothing else. These are true. I'm a believer in miracles, and these are the miracles because I get to witness it.
I see miracles.
I'm a walking
all the time.
evidence-based miracle. So are you. So are you.
Yeah,
You know
we
what I mean?
all are. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Totally.
that is so true. And it says it, but I agree with you. And I think for you, Mike, there's even bigger things out there. Not right at this moment, but I feel that you have a chance coming in at the ground level to maybe impact the nation, not just Portland and Oregon, for real. Mm-hmm.
Julie, just give me full body chills, just because I truly feel like I love Fora will ever be part of my life. You know what I mean? But I do feel like, what would be the next step for me? I know it's still uplifting and empowering people. I think it's still just using my experience to bring light and hope and love to people. But I do see potentially on a grander scale. Like, I'm really like materializing.
Awesome.
And honestly, I really don't know what that looks like. But how did I even get here?
Exactly.
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible.
No.
No, I was when we were at the awards, don't know how it happened. The governor came out and she said, hi, and nice to meet you. And I was like, hi. And then we were talking about Izzy, and she was like, yeah. And what's your story? And I said something to her, and she's, you're the most important person, but I see you on committees like that where I took the business route for a long time. And I think like you, I think that Izzy speaking out right on the commission gets more of these things done, because these things need to be done.
Right.
Like we said, we're 50th in treatment service, 1 in addiction. We need people like you that have been through it and know and can speak for the people that can't speak yet. Because putting you in jail, it might help with the timeout. You know what I'm saying? It helped me with the timeout, but it wasn't until I got to recovery that really worked. They're stating now that recovery is probably more important because they can't stop all the other stuff. It's not possible. There's not enough manpower.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much. We're going to have the links in our show notes and on the website if you're interested. And again, thank you so much for being on our show, Mike Hovey from Fora.
Perfect.
Mike the mentor.
Mentor Mike. Mentor Mike.
Oh, yeah. Such an honor. Okay. Thank you both. Appreciate you.
Okay, this is Julie.
And Peter, Real Recovery Podcast.
That's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks to each and every one of you for lending us your ears and hearts. Your engagement is what fuels our passion and keeps this podcast thriving.
We cherish the moments we share here and hope they resonate with you, whether you're on a daily commute, at the gym, or just taking a moment for yourself.
Make sure to head over to our website at realrecoverypodcast.com. While you're there, subscribe to our newsletter for the latest insights and uplifting stories from our community delivered straight to your inbox.
Click that subscribe button on your favorite podcast player too, so you can keep up with every new episode. It's your support that keeps our conversation alive and meaningful.
And if our stories have touched you, consider using the donate button on our site. Your contributions, no matter the size, are deeply appreciated. They help us continue our mission of sharing hope and healing.
Join us beyond the podcast and follow our journey on social media. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and on X, formerly known as Twitter. All the links are on our site, so you can stay connected and be a part of the Real Recovery community every day.
Your likes, shares, and comments not only spread the message of recovery, but also remind us that we're all in this together.
So, until we meet again, remember that recovery is a journey, not a destination, and we'll be here to accompany you every step of the way to recovery, real recovery.
Thanks for listening.